What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Beasley. Hope you all are staying positive and motivated and alive out there. I'm coming at you guys today with a review of Insecure Season 4, Episode 9, Lowkey Trying. This is a pretty decent episode for the most part. I enjoyed it. Starting off, my favorite look of the night, hands down, has to go to Molly. I loved every single thing that she wore. I couldn't even pick a favorite look. From the monochromatic turquoise outfit that she wore at the end to the eggshell colored crop top cardigan that she was wearing when she went to go see her therapist, and also the denim on denim look that she wore when she went to go meet up with Issa. Like every look was just on point from top to bottom. I gotta say, Yvonne Orgy, like she just has the body type for anything. Like she just looks good in everything that she's put in. And I will say, like, the way they style her character really makes up for the character's shitty personality. So starting off in this episode, we see Issa and Lawrence, and they're basically it's like a sequence of them rekindling their love life. It's like it was beautiful to see them two really come back together as the elevated version of themselves. So one night they're on the couch chilling, and then Nathan texts Issa, and Nathan basically is telling Issa like, "Hey, you promised that you were going to help me move. Are you going to be still available?" And Issa doesn't respond, but she instantly tells Lawrence because she doesn't want like any loose ends to deter them from being back together. So she tells Lawrence basically, I was talking to this guy Nathan a few months ago. We're not together. We're not messing around or anything. But I did promise I would help him move. And Lawrence is kind of looking at Issa like, oh well, okay. I mean, that's what's up. Basically, like as long as y'all aren't doing anything, I'm cool with it. And me personally, even though I feel like Lawrence and Issa don't really need to be together, and I'm going to explain that later, I just feel like her trying to rekindle things with Lawrence and then Nathan is still lingering around in the background. I just feel like it's just going to be a recipe for disaster. I mean, to be honest, Issa should go with Nathan at this point. Like, he did it to her. Like, at this point, y'all don't have anything to really talk about. I mean, I understand she wants a guy friend around, but this is going to. I feel like this season is going to end with Issa deciding between Lawrence and Nathan. So, and Lisa then turned asks Lawrence basically like, "Hey, so." She kind of tap dances around a bit, but she acts like, "So what's going on with Crayon Case?" And then Lawrence reassures Issa like, "Oh, condolences. Oh, she was cool. We met up and talked, but it's done." And I'm like, good, because I didn't want to see her ass either. And it was funny that last week a lot of people on social media were talking about, oh, Lawrence got Condola pregnant. That's why she was hitting him up. And I personally didn't believe that theory, and I'm glad they didn't go that route because it would have just been too love and hip hop ish for me. So the next day, we see Molly. She is meeting up with her therapist, and she is just her normal, unself aware self. Like, she is just blaming all of her frustrations and basically blaming everything on Issa that's going wrong with her life right now. And the therapist kind of grills her a bit and tells her, like, you know what? I noticed this pattern with you. Anytime somebody upsets you, you tend to just put a complete guard up and you don't really want to hear them. And that's literally what she does. And she's actually surprised to find that out about herself. And I'm just like, girl, like, how do you not see this? Like, you just shut everybody off that you have a problem with. Like, you were like a professional grudge holder at this point. And then also, the therapist asked her, like, do you always have to be right, or do you want to be in a relationship? And are you willing to put the work in to fix this friendship with Issa? And we don't get an answer from Molly, but the answer is really no. Like, if you later on in this episode, like you just see that like Molly expects Issa to do all the work. Like Molly did absolutely nothing wrong, and that is the problem I have with her character. Like she just irks the shit out of me. So we then see Issa. She is diligently working, and then she finally responds to that text that Nathan sent, and she confirms that she's going to still be able to help him move. Now, for my ladies, has a guy ever asked y'all to help him move some stuff in his apartment? Like, wouldn't he ask like a brother or like a male cousin or a homeboy or something? Like, why are you hitting Issa up to move shit? And oh, that's right, because you're trying to get back with her. and I'm surprised she doesn't even see that either. But she's kind of conflicted on this like situation of her being in limbo with both Nathan and Lawrence. So she wants outside advice from her friends, but she can't hit up Molly because they're still not on good terms. So she in turn tries to hit up Kelly. Kelly doesn't answer. We get like a funny voicemail from her, like speaking like a white girl, and then switching up to like a whole entire Latina. Like it was hilarious. I'm actually kind of sad we didn't see her in this episode. I love her character. And then we get to her calling Amal, and then Amal is sitting there busy eating a hot ass burrito that he can't even take, and Issa's kind of just like basically talking to him, but she's really talking to herself because he's not listening at all. And Issa gets off the phone. She's like, "Oh wow, you were no help," and Amal just hangs up in his face, like hilarious. So we then see her finally give in and call Molly, and we see Molly answer the phone. She's driving, and then she's happy that Issa's reaching out because Issa's like, "Hey, like I know we haven't talked, but I really want to talk. Like it's time." And then first Molly is like excited about it. But then Issa goes into talking about how she got back with Lawrence, and then we see Molly just go completely off, like, "Oh, you're the same messy ass, petty ass, like you don't know what you're doing, blah blah blah. You're just a user." Like, and then we see that it's a dream sequence, and I'm just like, okay, good, because I got a little pissed off in the at that sequence. Like, I thought it was real at first, and I'm just like, oh god, Molly, like you just because it's like they just really were making her out to be the villain this season. So Issa then decides to just leave a voicemail, and then we cut scene and we see Molly hear it, and then she basically obliges because in the next scene we see them two meet up. Now this scene with them two meeting at that diner, it really annoyed me, and it annoyed me because it was just them two talking on a surface level tip. Like they didn't discuss any problems that they had with each other prior to the block party, and they didn't even discuss the block party at all. Like it was just on. I mean, it was nice to see them like laugh and kiki, but like when they first sat at the table, it was very awkward. It was like them two didn't really, they couldn't read each other's energy right. But then you see them laughing and kiki and having fun, but they're still not addressing the issue at hand. Like it was really frustrating to watch, in my opinion. So after that shitty scene, we see Molly go to Andrew's house, and Andrew kind of asked like, "How was the meeting?" And then Molly was like, "Ugh, it didn't go well. Like we talked about everything but our issues and but the black party." And then Andrew's sitting there like, "Well, did you at least try to like meet her halfway?" And then she just like gets up angry like, "Ugh, I don't have time for this. Like the only thing I have time for is watching Losing Latoya." And she kind of just brushes him off. And then that conversation ends. But then he brings up the fact that his brother and sister-in-law are in town, and they got us tickets to the Clippers, and I want you to come because this is like a double date. And then she ends up turning it down. She's like, why don't you just go? And Andrew's like, like he didn't address her right then and there, but he was looking at her funny, like, girl, like this is my brother. And once again, it's like she's not self-aware to the fact that she is once again shutting off somebody that she has an issue with. And it's just like, Molly, you only met this guy once. Granted, you guys had an argument, and I can see her side of that argument that took place, but like, you're not gonna be able to date this man and then avoid her brother. Like, they obviously have a very close relationship. Like, I don't understand what the fuck goes on in Molly's head. Like, she is just truly deranged at this point. So we then see Issa and her assistant, they are leaving, I think it was like a gym or a juice bar or something like that. I think they were gonna, they're putting together a fitness event, and they had two vendors that accepted the invitation. And it's really nice to see Issa be on her boss girl shit. Like, I really just love how elevated she has become. So she thinks it's a phone call from Lawrence, and then they're kind of talking to see how everything is going, and then Lawrence reveals to Issa that the interview went well, and me low key, I feel like he got the job. I feel like he got the job, but he doesn't want to tell Issa like over the phone, like this is an in-person conversation. And it's like they're dating, but they're still kind of in limbo. Like they're kind of just like, okay, you're not my boyfriend, but you're my boyfriend, if that makes sense. And then I feel like at the end of this season, I feel like Lawrence is going to end up going to San Francisco, and they may not be together because long distance honestly doesn't work. Like I can tell you, like it doesn't fucking work. But Lawrence then proceeds to ask Issa like how was the meeting with her and Molly, and then Issa's like, oh, it went really well. Like we were just fun. We were just having a good time, laughing, kikiing, and then I'm gonna invite her to self care Sunday, and we're gonna be all good. And it's just like once again, Issa and Molly are just in two totally different like mindsets and spaces. Like Molly completely hated the meeting. Like she just like hated it, and Issa's like, "Oh, it went well. Like we're best friends again." And I'm just like, "Okay, girl." So we then cut to Nathan. We see Issa going to Nathan's house, and she's kept walking in. It's kind of like doing her little awkward thing, like how she should greet him because she's trying to really keep him in the friend zone. So she meets up with him at his doorstep. He tries to give her a hug. He tries to give her a hug, and then she gives him a handshake. It's just very awkward. So they end up starting to unpack his apartment, and then Nathan reveals that him and a few co-workers they pulled everything together and they bought out their boss's barbershop. And Issa's like, "Oh, that's really great. That's like amazing." And then Nathan reveals like he's gonna need like event services from Issa so they could throw like a little like an opening business party or something. And then Issa's like, okay, well, that's cool. My rates are not set yet, but they're going to be pretty high. And then he's like, oh, well, maybe I could work something out. Like, maybe we could do a little something. And then Issa's like, yeah, I'm back with Lawrence, even though he's my ex, but we're making this work. And then Nathan gets a little beside himself, and he was like, oh, the man you cheated on? And I was just like, okay, they're back together. And then she was like, yeah, I mean, we're just going to, I messed up in the past, but we're going to just make things work. And he was basically just like, oh, well, that nigga seem a little sometimes. Hopefully he has his shit together this time. And I'm like, if that ain't the pot calling the kettle black, little niglet, like, you ghosted this lady and you had the nerve to say some bullshit like that. So Issa then checks him like, well, unlike you, he's actually can use his words. It actually shows up when I need him. And then Nathan then tells Issa like I didn't block you like I didn't ghost you just to ghost you. Like I found out that I was bipolar. And Issa then apologizes. She's like, oh wow, like I'm pretty sorry. And then he reveals like I realized there's a certain caliber of people that I want in my life, and you're a part of that. And then they kind of just like are still in the friend zone, but like you could tell he still has feelings for her. And I feel like deep in the back of Issa's head, she still low key has feelings for him too. Next thing we see, Molly back at Andrew's house. They're getting ready to I forgot what they were doing. I think they were just about to just eat dinner. But Andrew then tells Molly about the fact that like we had a good time at the basketball game and they really wondered where you were. And he had to lie to them and say that she was at work when she really just didn't want to go. And then Molly's dumbass then says to Andrew, like, well, why would you put me in a situation you know is going to make me uncomfortable? And then Andrew is just like, well, you could at least try. Keyword of the episode. Like, can you try, girl? Like, you can't, like I said, you can't keep avoiding this man. Like, he is a person that is going to be in Andrew's life, like, forever. So, like, something's going to have to give at some point if you want to be with Andrew. Like, honestly, I could see Andrew leaving Molly. Not by maybe by next episode, the end of this season, or if not, like, I would like to see them together next season, but I definitely see him leaving her because it just seems like every time they have a scene together, he always notices shit about her that he just does not like and vibe with, but he just lets it ride because he really genuinely loves Molly. But it's gonna keep building up, and it's going to be a lot of shit that he can't sweep under the rug and ignore anymore. Like Molly, she doesn't even realize that she's just sabotaging everything around her. Like the girl, she's like a fucking mental patient at this point. So then, out of nowhere, Nathan and Issa pop up. So I guess this confirms that Nathan and Andrew were still roommates. and he's over there to get a few of his things, and then Andrew in turn invites them for dinner. They kind of wanted to not impose, but Issa's hungry, so she's just like, "Fuck it, okay, we'll stay." So we see them all like and gathered around. They're having a great time, shooting the shit, drinking like bottles of wine, and it just seems like everything is just like very prosperous and just very fun. But then later on, we see Molly shoot a little fast text to what she thought was Andrew. You know, she was probably like very buzzed, didn't even notice that she was texting Andrew, that she was not texting Andrew. And then Issa gets the message, and the message says, "See, I'm trying with her." And Issa looks up, gives a death stare to Molly, like, "This bitch here? Okay." So Issa replies, and she's like, "I don't think this is meant for me anymore." And I'm just like, "Oh Lord." So then she then gets up and storms out. And then Molly goes out and follows her, and then Molly's basically I'm sorry. Like Issa was like, "I did not think that it was going to be a chore for you to be friends with me." Like Molly was basically just like, "I'm trying, but like it's just hard. Like we haven't even talked about anything. We haven't talked about the block party." And Issa's like, "Okay, well let's talk about the block party then. I didn't think we needed to talk about it because you didn't bring it up. I thought it was all cool." And then Molly's like, "No, it's deeper than that. And like we've been off for months." And then Issa's like, "Okay, well I understand that, but at the same time, like I can't be the only person that wants to make this relationship work." Like basically what Andrew said, like, "Girl, meet me halfway." It's like Molly expects Issa to just do all the work in regards to them getting back together, when Molly, in my opinion, should have been the first to apologize, but both of them should have apologized to each other. Like meet each other fucking halfway, like Fergie, like meet each other halfway. Like I just don't understand how hard, like why is it so hard for Molly to get this through her thick skull? Like the girl is just crazy. So Molly then says, "I just think that the person that you are today and the person that I am today just don't really mesh well together anymore." And then Issa's just like, "Okay." And then Molly's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Like, what else do you want her to say? Like, I wouldn't try to fight for this damn relationship either. I'm not about to be the only one fighting for this relationship when you were also the one that almost fucked up my event. Like, Molly, girl, you were getting real beside yourself." Like my pet peeve is people that just extremely lack self-awareness, and that's why Molly has really just gotten under my skin this season. Like amazing actress Yvonne Orji is amazing. Like she gets the best supporting actress role, I mean Oscar award in my opinion, because she's playing the hell out of Molly, just as unself-aware as possible. Like it's crazy. So then Issa then gets into her Uber, and then the episode goes off. Like this was a pretty really good episode. I give it an 8 out of 10. It was cute. It was a cute episode. I'm very much looking forward to the season finale. This has been a great season so far, and I really hope that next week's episode like ends this season off with a bang. But those are my views. Let me know what you guys think about the episode and what would you rate it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will come at you guys with some more content. Take care.